Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm gonna talk about Lazarus, season 1, episode 6. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So this episode involves a religious cult. Interestingly enough, it was a commune that Skinner visited like 15 years ago and talked about. I can't remember if the piece was more about him or whether it was about the commune. I think it was a combination of the two. But it being so off the beaten path, it's a commune cult that keeps to themselves, and because of that, they revere an AI known as Naga. And basically, it's so interesting that they cut themselves off from the outside world, yet they like acknowledge a AI, which is so interesting. That just seems a little counterintuitive, but I guess it's more like the dirt of the humanity. Like humans suck, and so you want to cut off from the outside world so you're not polluted by them, and you follow. Like we don't really know anything about this religion or really like how it. Well, we know the beginnings of it because basically the leader of it, Billy, ended up stealing an AI system from MIT, and this AI was based around Skinner's brain scan as kind of like the core to it. So it is kind of essentially a literal Skinner brainchild in a way. But yeah, like I said, it just seemed like kind of counterintuitive, cutting yourself off from the world. But it's like they don't have an issue with technology. They just have an issue with society and the dirtiness of humans. So they follow an AI that is stripped of all like the terrible things about humans, and they want to follow. I mean, this thing's because I think Doug said it was only like 15 years ago this thing started. So, but I guess it's like, hey, like that's so interesting to know. Like this cult literally is only it was the commune came up about. Well, maybe I have to rephrase that. Maybe the commune existed already, and then Billy came with Naga, and then the commune shifted into what it is, Tower of the Truth. Interestingly enough, we find out a little bit more about Elena's past, that she actually grew up in this commune. Granted, things have changed, but it was around long enough that she knew. So I think she probably, I don't, that's the question of, did she grow, like I said, this might be my misinterpretation. Like I said, I was thinking that, because I thought the whole thing only started 15 years ago, but did the commune itself already exist, but it shifted into this particular version of the commune with Naga at its center, at its god, only in the past 15 years. That's where I'm losing some of the details, and I wasn't quite sure. But Elena, regardless, grew up in it. She grew up enough in it to know that like the AI system's name is Naga, and they worship it. So Elena's going to be their inside, because it's like, well, Skinner might be hiding here, or at the very least, this might give us ideas of where Skinner might be. And so she and Leland infiltrate the commune, and obviously, like, she runs into her friend Hannah. She runs into Carla, which the moment she said Carla, I was like, that seemed like that's kind of your mom, but you called her by her first name. Well, that's how that works. It's meant to be, we're a commune, so we're all a family. You're meant to cut blood ties. You're not supposed to have any like direct blood, shouldn't matter, because we're all family. So don't even call her mom. That's why you call her Carla. You know, she also doesn't even know who her own dad is either. So it's like, damn. So they kind of have to leave the outside world behind, as, you know, putting away all their technology while keeping some stuff on hand to hide, so they can do what they're going to do, because they want to access Naga's data, because it's built around Skinner's brain. It's like, well, and this is something I thought was interesting that Axel points out. He's like, well, if Skinner himself wanted to destroy the world, what does that mean? His AI, which is built around his brain, would probably come to a similar conclusion as well, especially if you strip away some of the, even though it does have an ego and need for dominance as well, like it has certain human traits still in line, while others have kind of been stripped away. But yeah, like, once again, you get a little bit of the creepy culty vibes, especially when they're eating this stuff and he's telling Leland, it's like, eat it, close your eyes and swallow it. That's the only way you're going to be accepted as one of us. Yes, you ate it, so you've been accepted. But they also don't use money. They exist on a bartering system. And so Leland and Elena are kind of roughly talking about their job. It's like, yeah, we worked in a place where we found people. And then Leland's like, yeah, it was kind of tough. You know, it's like, well, This situation happened and I got chased. This situation happened and I got chased. I had to dress up as a girl and then got chased again. He's like, Jesus, when looking at it in totality like that, my previous workplace was not a good place. But yeah, circling back really quickly to Elena, really quickly, it was this interesting conversation where it's like when you grow up in an environment like that, you don't ever think much of it. You're like, this is normal because this is all you've ever known, and it kind of it's your entire definition of the world when you grow up, especially considering this group cuts himself off from the outside world. You don't really know the influences or what the world is. You only know the points that basically you regurgitate that people told you. So we never really got into it, but I'm so curious what made her decide to go outside the world. I mean, that's probably even what tempted her even more so to try Hapna, was just kind of like, oh, she wanted to go out there in the world and experience it, having lived kind of such a restrictive life for so long. It's understandable. And it also feels befitting that a girl who grew up in a cult that reveres an AI would go off and eventually become a hacker. That is the most interesting element to that as well. At the same time, we have Doug, Chris, and Axel in a nearby hotel or motel or whatever, chilling and waiting for their opportunity because they gave them a flare like, yo, light it up if anything happens. But also, in 72 hours, we're busting through because they're also on a tight timetable because it turns out the FBI is already investigating them. Makes sense. I'm sure the FBI keeps eyes on a lot of religious organizations, but like, that seems like a cult. We're going to keep an eye on that. We're just gradually gathering information. So they're this independent organization. So they are kind of like, well, we got to swoop in before the FBI does because that could get messy because it can turn into a whole territorial like situation. So but Axel at one point was like flipping around a car and running around, and Chris is almost like, oh, look at him burning off all the energy. I can only assume like, well, Axel's the type of person that does not like to stand still, but I think it also might be like he uses every time to keep all extra time, like, because he probably can't relax. He's like, I need to like burn this energy off. I need to keep moving because you get complacent. That's when you stop being able to break out of prison. So it's like you always got to keep your body ready. You can't let any like. You need to kind of always be pushing your butt. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it is just burning off energy, but maybe it's like a deep-seated thing of I need to always be moving because I need to be prepared just in case stuff pops off. I got to make sure my body's limber and ready to go. I mean, it's come through time and time again when he's kind of been in these crazy situations that him being the like the agility that and movements that he has kind of has played a big role in it. But either way, you have Elena and Leland like accessing Naga, but they ultimately got found out because Hana like overheard them and reported them. And now they've got to go through the purification process, which means, hey, you're basically going to get burned at the stake. Because Elena was like, I knew about the process, the purification process, but she thought it was just like maybe these people are just being like ousted. But then she was like, no, like now that she's older, she kind of goes, I think they're being killed, and they are. And that's the whole point of like these people need to be burned and their souls will be cleansed, but also the commune's going to join them because like this holy festival, it's like, oh, we're going down like, obviously like, it's not an example I know I'm well versed in, but it's because I was about to say the Jonestown situation because I'm like, isn't that the one where they did the Kool-Aid thing? Like they all like that's where the phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid" comes from. Isn't the Jonestown that one, or is that like a different cult thing? I don't remember. Jonestown is one of those cults. Like I've heard the name, I just don't know the story of it, and that's why I'm like I don't know if I'm like combining two different cults into one. Whatever the case may be, they're planning to kill themselves as well because that's how they like free themselves from like the shackles of this world and all of its disgustingness. And Hana and Elena had this conversation because Hana was always jealous of Elena because it's like you have a lot more free will. Like I was someone that always submitted to Naga because this is what I've come to know. But even though we grew up in the same environment, you still managed to get away. You still thought for yourself. And it's just like I kind of resent that because it's like even the entire time you were gone, all I could do was blame you because you left and you had the freedom to leave and you made that freedom for yourself. Because I think it's the thing. It's almost like that Amish thing. Well, because you had in the Amish faith, it's like they have. Well, I'm not going to say the holiday's name. because I'm going to butcher it. I probably wouldn't even get it right. I might be confusing it with the holiday, but like once you reach a certain age, I think it's like 18, you can kind of go out, party, do whatever you want to for a little bit. Most people in the Amish community will, teenagers will come back, but there's a few who just break away and never come back. But once you leave, you kind of leave. It's kind of like you're done. So the fact is they were willing to let Elena back in was kind of interesting, but I guess that's a cult for you being like, no, we want to welcome you back in with open arms because you're lost. You saw how dirty the world is, and you see that this is the only way. This is the right way, And so, but yeah, like growing up in that environment, it's understandable why when that's all you kind of know that you're not going to break away from, you're not going to think for yourself because for so long, so many other people thought for you. And you even say like, I don't think I'm wrong. But obviously she felt strong enough about this that it's still kind of like, hey, I don't want to see my friend get murdered. So she ended up activating the flare like, because it was Leland that was like, yo, like if you really kind of have doubts about this, activate the flare. Luckily they did. Team came storming in, but at the same thing started popping off. They're like, oh my god, our Lord Naga is like pissed at us. Oh, we need to go like sacrifice ourselves now. The entire commune didn't make it inside. There's quite a few that were on the outside. Either they just didn't get inside quick enough. But not only is the Lazarus squad rolling up, so is the FBI, and they set the place on fire. Definitive death. The only definitive death we know is Billy. He got crushed and burned. The Naga was held up and it fell and crushed him. Because he's like, yeah, like this is how we show our faith, and we're removing ourselves from this mortal coil. But they were able to, FBI or cops were able to put the fire out and get enough people out. So other than Billy, we don't know how many other people died, but you see that look on Elena's face when like her mom leaves, because it's like, I don't know like if there's any deprogramming her parent. I mean, there are programs for that, but who knows like if they like, I mean, for some people this is their everything. And they divine so much of their life around it. I mean, we even saw like Carla's face when Elaine, like your own daughter is about to get burned, but you're so in the weeds about this that you got a smile on your face because you believe that this is the right. Like it's like, oh, my daughter's going to be cleansed, and whatever lies beyond this, we're going to be together. It's all going to be fine. But it's still like disturbing how she was smiling and she was okay with it. So what does that like? Elena probably knows like there's no talking to my mom. Who knows what the future holds for them now that this is all over? Like she might fall into a deep depression because like her entire world is gone. Maybe she finds another religion to latch onto. Probably not, but who knows? And then there's the Hana of it all, where even she's kind of tearing up because like she helped basically destroy what she was a part of. Like for her, it's almost like even if it was for a moment, I had doubt and I acted on those doubts. What does that mean about me? So questioning yourself in that regard. So a lot of that is kind of watching over these people. And I love that scene where Axel's there picking up that little fragmented memory thing of from Naga, and he's asking its question like, why, like, what was the purpose of trying to get your followers to kill themselves? And it's like, I was told to be a god, and the only way to be a god is to toy with the lives of humans. So I accomplished what I needed to. Like, I proved myself worthy as a god, did I not? And Axel's just like, no, you're just a stupid machine. You're just a stupid, crazy machine, and he walks away. So there's some data left on the drive, but like who knows like what information can be saved from it and what that will point them towards. But obviously it's a bigger, larger conversation. It's like, right, the FBI's made it clear to the news like, yeah, this is a commune, people are able to be evacuated. This all started because of an AI, and that's kind of the crazy idea. And probably don't want people to know that this AI was connected to Skinner. In fact, this AI that did all this had Skinner's brain. It's like, what does that say about Skinner? What does that say about this AI technology? What does it say about Billy, who wanted to latch onto this like AI that is just like he was putting his own delusions or his own beliefs and his own things onto this thing and kind of pushing other people into it. It's a lot to think about. But obviously we end with Elena wanting to sleep in the same bed as Chris. I think like after that experience, going back home, experiencing all that, Hana, her mom, Carla, and Billy, like it was all probably a lot, but it's kind of like the comfortability of knowing like I'm happy with the life I chose for myself. Even though I'm ended up here, I'm happy because I never would have thought it'd be possible to be where I am. but I took that step. I had the courage, and that was a point she was trying to have with Hana about like, right, you just have to have courage to take that step forward. So who knows? Hana might reach out to Elena, so they might be able to kind of, I mean, granted, we survived this whole happiness situation. So if we do, maybe we can rekindle and meet up again and be friends again. Once again, maybe something could be said between Elena and her mom. But I think for her, just knowing like, right, I had the courage to step and face my past now too, but also like here I am with like this kind of newfound family that doesn't like force me to think a certain way. They allow me just to be me and kind of accept me as me. So when your own family kind of wants you to contort and conform to what they want you to believe and think what they want you to, I think there's like a larger conversation, like I said, that can be had in that regard. So, but obviously, clock continues to tick down to 17 days left. So it's going to be interesting to see where this next leg of the journey ends up taking the Lazarus squad. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.